Revelation 17. We move on to the specifics of the harlot, known as Mystery Babylon. She is a mystery because she hasn't been revealed yet. Now, to understand the book of Revelation, you need to understand that the book is not in chronological order. There is a general order, but the book is mainly clumped together by themes. The Apostle John is seeing scenes that are clumped together by themes. The seals are together, the trumpets are together, then the bowls, then the harlots. It's like John stepped into a room and the theme was seals. Then John stepped into another room and the theme was trumpets. The chronology you have to put together yourself. God wants us to study His Word and meditate on it. God is clear on that. Hey, it's George Chuang. I want to emphasize again, the book of Revelation is not in order. There is a general order, but it's mainly grouped together by themes. In Revelation 16, the theme was bowls, and now we move on to the harlot, Mystery Babylon. Now, Revelation 17 will go into the details of the harlot and describe the harlot. When you put the timeline together, you realize that she is burned before the rapture. Mystery Babylon is burned just before the rapture happens. I discussed this back in our Revelation 14 study when Mystery Babylon was introduced for the first time as fallen. That is, she had just been destroyed. That was in the Revelation 14 study. Now in chapter 17, we go into the details of this harlot. Revelation 17, verse 1. Then one of the 7 angels who had the 7 bowls came and talked with me, saying to me, "Come, I will show you the judgment of the great harlot who sits on many waters, with whom the kings of the earth committed fornication, and the inhabitants of the earth were made drunk with the wine of her fornication." She is responsible for spiritual fornication on earth. She causes the inhabitants of the earth to live in a certain way that is ungodly. This section involves the judgment of the harlot. Verse 3. So he carried me away in the spirit into the wilderness, and I saw a woman sitting on a scarlet beast, which was full of names of blasphemy, having 7 heads and 10 horns. The scarlet beast with 7 heads and 10 horns we already discussed. The 7 heads represent 7 world empires in the Middle East. The 10 horns are 10 kings who reign during the time of the Antichrist. The beast is the Antichrist. Now the woman sits on the beast with 7 heads. That means this woman has been around since the first world empire in the Middle East. The first was Egypt, the second Assyria, the third Babylon, the fourth Medo-Persia, the fifth Greece, the sixth the Roman Empire, and the seventh the kingdom of the Antichrist. Now, how can it be that this woman has been around since the Egyptian Empire? Listen to what she is guilty of. Revelation 18:24. And in her was found the blood of prophets and saints, and of all who were slain on the earth. She is guilty of all who were slain on the earth. Later, we'll find that she is a major player in the commercial world. I believe the harlot represents the commercial system. Now, the 7 heads represent the 7 major empires in the Middle East. In all those empires, there is always a major city or region that has commercial influence on the world. In the time of the Egyptian Empire, Egypt was the economic power and influence. In the time of the Babylonian Empire, Babylon was the economic power and influence. During the Greek Empire, the Greeks had the influence. During the Roman Empire, the Romans influenced the world in their region and ran the commercial system. Are you seeing the pattern? The one that is able to influence the world and the one that has the power to influence the commercial system of the world is the strongest empire of their time. They have power over the commercial system. That is, they can influence what people like, what people want to buy, and how they should live. This is what it means to be rich. You want to buy this. In the time of the Roman Empire, purple dyed fabric was the choice color of royalty and the rich. To make the purple dye, you needed to extract it from sea snails, and the odor it left on the fabric was awful. But people still bought it and wore it. Why? Because the people bought into the idea that this awful smelling purple clothing was the sign of wealth. People wanted to show off their wealth. No different today. The one that controls the commercial system has great influence over society. Now you notice the pattern. The most powerful empire has the commercial influence. However, during the time of the Antichrist, it is not so. The kingdom of the Antichrist will be the seventh empire in the Middle East. But who has the economic power and who runs the commercial system? The USA. This is the only time where the ruling empire in the Middle East does not run the commercial system. So the harlot rides the seven-headed beast. The harlot and seven-headed beast have always gone hand in hand. But when the Antichrist and his kingdom arise, they will hate the harlot and burn her with fire. We'll get to that in verse 16. The Antichrist and the 10 kings with him hate what the US puts out. They hate how the US influences the world. Much of the Muslim world is always chanting, "Death to America!" Verse 4. The woman was arrayed in purple and scarlet, and adorned with gold and precious stones and pearls, having in her hand a golden cup full of abominations and the filthiness of her fornication. And on her forehead a name was written, Mystery, Babylon the Great, the mother of harlots and of the abominations of the earth. This end-time Babylon is a mystery. No one can say for certain who she is until God reveals her. Some say it's New York. Some think it's Saudi Arabia. Some say it's the Catholic Church. But I believe it's Los Angeles, more specifically the LA County. It's where Hollywood and the porn industry are located. Radical Muslims hate Hollywood and the porn industry, but they are powerless against its influence. Osama bin Laden, who plotted the 9/11 attack on the World Trade Center, believed in Sharia law. But when he was killed by US Navy SEALs, what did they find at his hideout? A large stash of pornography. This is truth. The porn industry has affected the entire world. Many of those who are against pornography watch it because they are powerless against its influence. Even a large percentage of Christian men are addicted to porn. Therefore, Mystery Babylon is known as the mother of harlots and of the abominations of the earth. She is the mother of harlots because she causes people to commit spiritual harlotry. Hollywood movies also influence the world in a negative way. She puts out an image that makes people want to live a worldly lifestyle. Even in China, where the country is supposed to be closed from the outside world, is not immune to her influence. The Chinese are now chasing the lifestyle of the rich and famous, even more so than the West. But who gave the Chinese this dream in the first place? They saw what Americans had in movies, and now they want that lifestyle too. And America pretty much made China rich with all her buying. So America is responsible for influencing the world. But the center of it all, I believe, is coming from Hollywood. The porn industry has also affected the world. And all this is coming from the LA County. Muslims hate what America puts out. I can probably guarantee you that a large majority of Muslims, Buddhists, Hindus, or whatever their religion, watch porn. They are powerless against its pull and influence. They may hate it, but they do it. But an end-time empire will rise in the Middle East. The Antichrist and the kings with him will burn the harlot because they hate her. Verse 6. I saw the woman drunk with the blood of the saints and with the blood of the martyrs of Jesus. And when I saw her, I marveled with great amazement. Remember, this woman represents the commercial system that drives the world economy. That is why she is guilty of the blood of the saints, the blood of the martyrs of Jesus, and of all who were slain on the earth, as we read earlier in Revelation 18:24. Why are the saints of God often put to death? Because of spiritual harlotry. These people don't like the message the saints of God bring, so they put them to death. Why were so many prophets put to death in Israel? Because the Jews didn't like the message they were hearing. It was disturbing their way of life. Why were so many Christians put to death during the Roman Empire? Because the Christians were disturbing their way of life. The harlot has this whole commercial system going, and the saints of God are trying to disrupt that. So they are often killed and persecuted. Now, there is more than one way to kill a saint. Listen to what it says concerning the harlot. Proverbs 7:25-27. Do not let your heart turn aside to her ways. Do not stray into her paths. For she has cast down many wounded, and all who were slain by her were strong men. Her house is the way to hell, descending to the chambers of death. Listen, you young men who watch my channel. Flee from porn with your life. Do not even think about playing church. Moses warned, be sure your sin will find you out. I can't even tell you how many pastors have been overcome by this harlot and have had their lives and ministries completely destroyed. And all who were slain by her were strong men. So John marveled with great amazement at this woman because of her influence and power and ability to kill. If it is difficult for Christian men who have the Holy Spirit to resist this harlot, then how much more difficult will it be for those of the world? Many pastors now chase money, which is serving mammon. Sow your seed. Being wealthy is the Christian life you are meant to live. The harlot is all about living a life of pleasure and wealth. She wants you to commit spiritual fornication and the abominations of the earth. Verse 7. But the angel said to me, why did you marvel? I will tell you the mystery of the woman and of the beast that carries her, which has the 7 heads and the 10 horns. The beast that you saw was and is not and will ascend out of the bottomless pit and go to perdition. Perdition simply means hell or damnation. And those who dwell on the earth will marvel, whose names are not written in the book of life from the foundation of the world, when they see the beast that was and is not and yet is. The beast that was, meaning he was here before, that was probably Antiochus Epiphanes, who desecrated the temple. He was a type of Antichrist, and is not means he wasn't working in John's day when he was writing this book. And yet is means he will come. Some manuscripts have and shall be present. When the beast starts working again, he will first ascend out of the bottomless pit and then go to hell when he's finished, as the beginning of the verse says. The beast that you saw was, that was Antiochus, and is not, He's currently not here and will ascend out of the bottomless pit and go to perdition, go to eternal damnation. Verse 9. Here is the mind which has wisdom. The 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. Now, some people stop here and say, look, this is clearly Rome. Rome is known as the city on 7 hills. The harlot is the Vatican and the Catholic Church. But verses 9 and 10 are connected. Verse 10, there are also 7 kings. 5 have fallen, 1 is, and the other has not yet come. And when he comes, he must continue a short time. So the 7 heads are 7 mountains on which the woman sits. And there are also 7 kings. Now, when John was writing this book, 5 kings had already fallen. That is, they have already died. If the harlot is the Vatican, then that would mean 5 popes had already died when John was writing the book of Revelation. And that makes no sense. Also, it can't be the Roman Empire because there were more than 5 emperors that had died. Also, there are only 7 kings. There were a lot more than 7 Roman emperors who ruled and reigned. In the Bible, a mountain is symbolic of an empire. Nebuchadnezzar had a dream. He saw an image of a man. Then a stone struck the image. Daniel 2:35. And the stone that struck the image became a great mountain and filled the whole earth. The great mountain that will fill the whole earth is the empire of Jesus Christ. A mountain is an empire. That is very clear. So there are 7 mountains and 7 kings. Now, what do kings rule? Do they rule mountains? No, kings rule empires. So there are 7 empires and 7 kings. Every empire has a notable king. Nebuchadnezzar was the notable king of the Babylonian Empire. In his dream, where he saw an image of a man, God revealed to him that he was the head of gold. During the Medo-Persian Empire, Cyrus was the main king. During the Greek Empire, it was Alexander the Great. So 5 have fallen. Those kings are already dead. It was Egypt, Assyria, Babylon, Medo-Persia, and Greece. The 5 main kings of those empires had already died. 1 is. So during John's time, the 6th king was still alive. That king was likely Domitian, who heavily persecuted the Christians. If John wrote Revelation in the late 60s, then the king would be Nero. But John likely wrote the book around 95 AD, so Domitian is probably the king that is. And the other has not yet come. And that is the Antichrist. He only has a short time. Verse 11. The beast that was and is not is himself also the 8th, and is of the 7th, and is going to perdition. Okay, how is the beast of the 7 also the 8th? Well, from the book of Daniel, we know that the Antichrist will uproot 3 kings and he'll take their place. Also, he will have an image that will be able to speak for him. This is probably when his kingdom will change and become the 8th. But he is actually of the 7th because there are only 7 kings. Verse 12. The 10 horns which you saw are 10 kings who have received no kingdom as yet, but they receive authority for 1 hour as kings with the beast. The 10 kings weren't alive in John's time, so they have received no kingdom as yet. They receive authority for 1 hour. Simply means they rule for a short time. Verse 13. These are of one mind. They will give their power and authority to the beast. These will make war with the Lamb, and the Lamb will overcome them. For he is Lord of lords and King of kings, and those who are with him are called, chosen, and faithful. All this is before the rapture takes place. The Antichrist and the 10 kings will make war with Jesus, but Jesus will overcome them. Later, the Antichrist will make war with the saints, and he will overcome them and be able to kill them. That will be after the rapture happens. Verse 15. Then he said to me, the waters which you saw where the harlot sits are peoples, multitudes, nations, and tongues. So the harlot has influence and power over many nations. Verse 16. And the 10 horns which you saw on the beast, these will hate the harlot, make her desolate and naked, eat her flesh and burn her with fire. I believe Iran will get nuclear weapons one day, and they will be part of the Antichrist kingdom. And one day, when the Antichrist is strong enough, they will burn the harlot, which I believe is the LA County. Verse 17. For God has put it into their hearts to fulfill his purpose, to be of one mind and to give their kingdom to the beast until the words of God are fulfilled. God is the one who put this into their hearts. God is the one who wants to judge the harlot. Verse 18. And the woman whom you saw is that great city which reigns over the kings of the earth. So this woman is a city and she reigns over the kings of the earth. I'm sure reign here means to have influence over. So I believe Mystery Babylon is Los Angeles and the surrounding area. Hollywood and the porn industry affect and influence the whole world. Of course, I could be wrong. Some say it's New York. Maybe it could be Washington, D.C. Others say Saudi Arabia. You can leave your comments and thoughts below. This is George Chuang, teaching from Taiwan. If you would like to partner with me, you can give your support on Patreon and PayPal. Also, use the Amazon link below to shop on Amazon to support this work. It's just one click for you, and you will support this ministry when you do your regular shopping on Amazon. May you be mightily blessed by the Lord. And until next time, let us continue to love the Lord with all our heart, soul, mind, and strength. Oh, I love you, Jesus. Amen. God bless you guys. Bye-bye.